You saw the camera thing?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, that's why I sent it to you because I wanted to go to Canada.
Uh-huh.
All right. Hey, well, good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank y'all for joining us for another edition of Purpose Driven Pivot. I'm your host, Greg Clay, and I had an awesome dynamic duo, couple, inspiration, driven, fearing, phenomenal folks in Aaron and Michelle, affectionately known to the world now as No Formula 22.
Yeah.
I had to remind our guests, y'all, that we can't have any pre-conversations prior to the interview because we want to save that for y'all. And as they glow on screen, just know that today will be a very exciting experience as we talk not just about their individual journeys in love and their pivots along the way, but now their pivots together, inspiring folks. The whole thing about what it is that we want to provide folks that view this show either live or with recordings. It's really about having the confidence to pivot, understanding your journey, and leaning in to not just find healing for yourself, but also to inspire folks going forward. And so, as a reminder, you can visit gregclay.com for all of our previous episodes and check things out. And so, without further ado, we've got No Formula 22. What's up, y'all?
Hi.
What's happening? Man, we got a great response from folks that are tuning in. And so for those folks who are tuned in live via Zoom and also live via Facebook, don't hold anything back in terms of the comments and sharing and the watch parties for these two phenomenal folks. I really want to, before I get into how I know Aaron, because Michelle, we're going to get to know each other better, but this superstar that's sitting next to you, I'll tell the story on how we initially met, our connection through FanView and the likes. But for starters, I want y'all to just kind of tell folks a little bit about yourselves individually and collectively, and keep it as short or succinct or as long-winded as you need to be, and then we'll jump right into to some of the questions. And I gotta tell the story again about when I was in the Windy City, baby, and I ran into the superstar.
I'll go ahead and go first. I'm Michelle, and I'm originally from Florida, Tampa, Florida. Graduated from Florida A&M University, and this is where I met this gentleman. Business background, got a business degree, well, 3 business degrees. Lived in New York, lived in New Jersey, moved back down here to Atlanta. So right now I work at Georgia Tech. I'm a human resource manager, and I've been in higher education for the majority of my career, and I enjoy that. The students, the people, those that I impact. I'm a lover of love, and through life you learn a lot about what love is, what love isn't, and you continue to strive for what's best for you. And I'm just continuing to be positive on this journey with this life that I
have. Yeah, a lover of love. I love that, Michelle.
Aaron Paxton Arnold, so the other half of No Formula 22. I met Michelle in 1998, 22 years ago. From the south side of Chicago, went to Florida A&M University as well, where I majored in, double majored in journalism and public relations, minored in business marketing and theater. I've had like this really crazy career story, but worked for like 4 global PR firms, quit that, took an unpaid internship with Sean Combs, or Diddy, as people like to call him, for 18 months.
Is he still calling himself Love, man?
Man, I call Puff, or I call him Mr. Combs. Like even when we text, I say Mr. C or Mr. Combs. So
respectfully, I did that. Respect, baby.
It's about seeing still a black man in this position, and I wanted to give him the respect that was warranted, a global icon and CEO. So that I feel like a lot of times when, as young black men, when we achieve success, that we as people of color don't give us the same respect that we should. So I just still call him Mr. Combs, and that's just how it'll be. But yeah, I did that for 18 months, graduated from that experience, moved to Atlanta where I launched a company called Music Is My Business. I did that for 6 years. Inc. magazine said we were one of America's smartest new companies, had some really good success, but realized that I was not walking in my purpose. So I started over again, and I started to really focus on my brand as far as what I do now, which is speaking all over the country, pre-COVID, making sure that I, inspire, educate, and entertain people. I was on the morning show on Kiss 104 here in Atlanta until 2018. So that was a phenomenal experience. And
got a lot of shout outs through you too, man. Thank you.
I have to, man. Look, I've been blessed to have platforms, local and national, and whenever I can, I want to make sure that I show love. It's funny because I got in trouble because they were like, "Well, are you endorsing Greg?" I was like, "That's my homie. Like, I just had a conversation. I just want to let the people know that I had a conversation and I didn't get a chance to catch up with the other candidate."
Yep. God bless them too.
Yeah, God bless them too, but they didn't go to FAMU, so it doesn't matter. And so I'm just I love what I do. I've been in places that I never imagined. I always joke with people. I've spoken at universities for like Harvard that I could have never gotten into coming out of high school. And so it's truly not where you start, but what you do along the journey and really taking advantage of God's grace and mercy. And again, walking in your purpose. So, just happy to be here and to be on this platform and to be sharing our story. And hopefully we'll be able to, inspire people and motivate people and entertain people.
I know you will. I know y'all will. And so because it's such an awesome story as it relates to Aaron and his, music is my business, lifestyle. I'm standing in a hotel lobby in Chicago, and there's guys in front of me, and I'm like, man, I know this guy from somewhere, man. I don't know where I know him from, but this guy is a celebrity. I know him. And so me being, the young go-get-it guy that I am, I'm like, yo, said, hey, man, something that went viral, man. Like, well, I know. And this is like, I don't remember what year, Aaron, but it was like
2011, 2000.
Yeah, so viral was even different back then, man. But y'all had it just going like to the max. And so as we conversed, we found out that we both went to FAMU. We knew a lot of the same people. And, it's interesting how God has you collide with these folks where you least expect them standing in a line, in a hotel lobby in Chicago.
We both lived in Atlanta.
And we both lived in Atlanta. Wow, isn't that crazy? And so from there, man, we've had just this awesome relationship and seeing each other grow. And not just grow in what folks see on, whether it be social media or, what we may present, but just growing as individuals through A to Z to 1 to 10, the good and the bad, man. And so one of the things that I'm grateful for is for your friendship here over the years, man. And if I hadn't introduced myself to you, man, I know we would have probably connected in Atlanta in a different lane, right? But I'm so glad that I did, man, and recognize the light that God was shining on you at that time. To just reach out to my brother and say, hey, man, like, I know you from somewhere, dog.
Yeah. I was like, dog, you money or something? I came back to the crib, I'm about to get hemmed up.
Beautiful. So, when it comes to you guys' journey in love, there's a lot that's there in the context of how you present your relationship. There's a lot that's there when it comes to your past experiences. Let me start with asking, as a recently married man, shout out to my wife, Shawnee. What's up, baby?
Dr. Wifey, congratulations.
Indeed, thank you.
Congratulations.
Before we got on, Aaron was like, man, you got this glow. I was like, it's all her, man.
Married glow, like, let's get it. Yeah.
All her. But as a recently married man, and as we navigate even through COVID, the differences around how the world is now, what's y'all's overall message to people that are in love and still looking for love? And I know that might be two different things, but what is it that at the undercurrent of what you all want to express and how people should feel when they look at you, when they talk to you, when they affectionately share their journey and stories with you? What's that overall feeling that y'all want people to walk away with?
I want people to know that love is real, right? Love is not perfect. It is enduring and it is very special, and it's what you make it. So for those who are still looking for love, a lot of people say it's not out there. I'm just going to be single for the rest of my life. I don't believe that narrative. I feel that maybe there's some things you need to do for yourself first. Maybe you're looking in the wrong places. Maybe you're just looking and you need to stop doing that as well. Grow within yourselves and let things gravitate towards you as it will. For those who are in love or in relationships or married, um, consistency is key. Knowing yourself, knowing your partner, compromising is essential as well, and looking for the different ways to love. I love Aaron how I want to love Aaron, right? But I love him how he needs to be loved as well too. So I think that that's important to not let it all be about yourself, but what your partner is looking for.
Mm.
Just working towards, whatever love looks for you and growing in that.
Michelle, thank you for that. There's so many nuggets. I mean, in that, there are two thumbs up from this side too. Like there are just so many nuggets in that. And again, since I've been on this journey, and Shani and I dated for a number of years, but marriage is total, we kind of turn the page in this newness of things. And when people talk about like the love languages of someone, whether you believe in them or not, right? I'm kind of in the middle, to tell you the truth, when it comes to the love language. But when you say loving Aaron, how he needs to be loved, that's one of the things that I kind of think about, where, pop culture has gravitated to defining some of those things. But for me, while I'm in the middle on that type of stuff, is because on Sunday I might feel a way, but on Tuesday I might feel another. Or when things might not be going too well, none of that aligns with what my love languages might be. And I just feel a certain way. And so it's not this consistent thing around, how I'm feeling all the time. And when people rest on those things, it's just a different thing, right? But that's what reminded me of one of the things that you mentioned when you said that loving him the way he needs to be loved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's so eloquently said, but I mean, to your point, I mean, it took me a while it took me till 42 to really understand that to have a relationship where God has to be that foundation. Because I looked at some of my past situations that didn't work out for whatever reason, and the one consistency that we always talked about that we both never had is we never put God first in our relationships or our marriage. And that's no fault to anyone. You grow, you live, and you learn. She talked about loving me the way that I need to be loved, but like that love we've had that love for each other for 22 years since we were kids in college. She's just always been there. She's never judged me, especially in college. When I met her, I was like, I had just crossed, and
Like showtime.
Yes,
showtime.
And,
I can only imagine Aaron and FAMU, man.
Okay. I mean, 1998 was a crazy year. It was a good year though. It was a good year, but
the thickness of those hump years too. Those president hump years. I was kind of on the tail end, so I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a perfect storm.
Sure.
But so I think so much of that just has to be organic. But then there's the part where you have to work. And to your point, and the reason why we named our platform No Formula 22 being the number of years that we've known each other, but like, our individual journeys and our collective journeys and just how we've ended up here finally, and thank God, is through nothing short of God's plan. It has nothing to do with what we plan. You talk about looking for love. I've never believed in looking for something that's supposed to be so organic. I feel like it's like chasing money, like some people say, chase the dream.
Sure.
Not the check. And that's true. Every time I've chased the check, I found myself in situations that I didn't need to be in or set me back from what God's purpose was for me from the beginning. And that just comes with having faith. And so, we've just been very fortunate to be at this point where, her situations were cleared, my situations were cleared. And, she's always been my best friend. And, you talk about COVID, because of everything slowed down, it just finally allowed us to really just start building in a way that we've never built before. And, when and, I've always said she's always, even since college, good or bad, she's always been my standard of, I've measured every woman to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I had an opportunity to love her the way she needs to be loved, the way she deserves to be loved.
Yeah.
It's a blessing, man. And to be young enough to still recover from our, I don't want to say mistakes, but our failures. And I say failures are good things because you learn from those. and to be able to be here and be able to enjoy each other and to build what we're building and how we feed off each other. Like we're still big kids. Like whenever you come over, you and the wife, you come over, like, that's the beautiful thing kind of about FAMU, but there's a lot of ignorance going around. We still talking smack and whatever. But I feel like you need to surround yourself with people that are better than you. And God definitely gave me a woman that's better than me. And so I'm just trying to just make sure I keep rising, as she continues to rise. So she doesn't, want to throw me away.
So this undercurrent of you guys' friendship, it's not a new thing, right? Because people talk about, and I even in my communication about Shani and I's relationship, I talk about how we're friends and also lovers, right? And so much more. If you were to say, the components around that growth as friends, as both of you are on these individual kind of paths, right? What were some of those things that y'all had to forgive yourselves for, right, in your relationship as friends before coming kind of back together? And we can go as deep as y'all want to, or we can go on surface.
To be honest,
because, and I ask that because, friendships now at these ages are just so dynamic where you can go up, through the roller coasters of things through growth. And forgiving in friendship is also a part of that. Rather than folks saying, hey, we have the favorite movie together, or we like the same food or like the same color, it's more to being friends.
Yeah. I mean, I will acknowledge that she's done probably all of the forgiving because, in 98, I mean, so I'll be honest, like in 98 when we met, I had a girlfriend. I didn't tell her though, and I ended up spending my birthday with her and not my girlfriend. It's college. It's 1998, and so once she found that out, it was kind of like, the ironic part is my girlfriend broke up with me on my birthday anyway, but that was for something else. Again, I was 21. I didn't know, but so she kind of forgave me for that process, and then we still remained friends. And then, throughout the years, as we were in and out of different relationships, and we tried it again, but I just had to grow. It took me a while to just mature and not be so selfish. I was very selfish in my 20s. In particular, I was all about my career. Even though my parents have been married for 49 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you. The example that I looked to, the examples that I saw around me were a lot of industry cats, entertainment, music guys, and some of those examples weren't the examples that you need to look to when it comes to having a relationship or marriage or what have you. But it's still the responsibility was on me, and I was just so focused on my career, and I believe that everything. I didn't really understand that like marriage was work. I thought I looked at my parents. I didn't really until I started talking to them. I didn't really understand that like they had to put the work in and are still putting the work in. I thought it would just organically just happen. One thing I've learned is like if you start something when the foundation is not solid or broken, it's like a house, it's gonna sink. But being 24, 25 at the time, I got married the first time, I didn't really understand that. I don't think she did either. And we kind of we took a chance, and I don't regret it because you learn from those situations.
Indeed.
I think it took me to go through the situations I've been through because people have asked us like, why didn't you guys get together in the past? And on my end, I just wasn't mature enough. And so I can't imagine being immature as I was and losing her as a friend because of my immaturity.
Sure.
And I think that's what kind of God spared her from. And to the point where it was just God's time has just been so perfect and amazing for us. And so now I'm at the point in my life where I've always wanted to be that man, how my dad is, how my dad looks at my mom. I mean, their marriage has been far from perfect, but it's been perfect for them. And the way he celebrates her and protects her every day, like I've always wanted to do that and be that. It just took the right person to come along. And when that person comes along, and that kind of goes back to not settling too. I mean, I think oftentimes we all kind of settle, oh, this person doesn't have this person doesn't have that. Once I went through my second situation, I was free for 3 or 4 years and I just wouldn't settle. And I thought I would just be single for the rest of my life. And when Michelle came back into my life again, it was just like, I just knew. I remember having a conversation with my mom. My mom, first thing my mom says, like, Aaron, you can't hurt her. You have to, because of everything she's been through and who she is to you, like you have to grow up. And I was like, I'm ready. And so it was just about, again, continuing our friendships, of making sure as a friend that I supported her through this year, with some of the things that she's gone through in the past, and then everything else organically kind of just took place. But if you talked to me 10 years ago, I'm not this person at all. So like I said, I'm just thankful for God's grace. And, when God gives you time on this earth, you have time to correct the mistakes that you've created in the past. And that's simply, for me, what it's been about.
Man, to hear you speak that, man, I can hear the emotion in your voice, and the healthiness around speaking in that.
Yeah.
And even as brothers, right, we have to become more comfortable in that, I think. And in that space of vulnerability, be able to communicate those things so that they provide strength really for other folks.
Right.
Because more people than we know go through those types of things, and especially when it comes to healthy relationships.
Right.
Being able to express that means a lot to me, man. Like, I don't know, y'all, I've written more down than I probably have at this particular point in the game than other interviews so far. So if you don't have a pen and paper, folks that are watching, get one, because we haven't even got warmed up yet.
I'll go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was gonna ask Michelle, when it comes to that friendship undercurrent, and to hear that, I don't imagine that was your first time hearing that, Michelle. If it is, or some of it is, maybe so. But when you think about friendship being undercurrent of your relationship with Aaron, what are some of the things that you would like folks to know, to help them grow in that too, as long as y'all have known each other?
Yeah, very mature.
Yeah, he's very mature.
Now, wait a second. I can't hear Aaron. What are you giving? What's going on here? What's going on? Aaron, you can't do that anymore.
Okay.
I didn't hear you. I just saw you like.
I said that I'm very mature.
He's very mature. He's trying to figure what I should say.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is going on.
Yeah.
You can do that for other interviews, man. What's going on here?
So there are 2 points in our past where his lack of maturity like, it for me, and I pulled myself away from him. I ended the friendship because I was like, I can't deal with this. How could you put me in this position? Whatever the case may be. And I thought what was best for me was to pull back from the friendship that we had. So as years went on, I asked Aaron to understand why I did that. And I explained to him why I felt that was necessary for me, but I was not holding it against him at that point. During those times, I definitely did. Because what we had as a friendship, I wanted that back again. So, we grow, things happen, you forgive, you move on if you choose to. And I was making a choice to do that. So I think it's very important to understand what friendship means for you in a relationship, how to keep that growing. And like you said, there are times where one person or the other may do something to break something in that friendship. And that's just kind of life, but it can be repaired and you grow and you strengthen it. And as you're older, experiences, knowledge, you become much more mature enough to be able to say, this is what the friendship is. This is what I want it to be. And this is what I'm going to do to make sure that it lasts. And in our relationship, it is the basis for who we are. We're able to talk about anything, laugh and joke. And then we have the times where we can be serious because we trust each other, because we can see each other and be there for each other in all these different lanes. So it's very important to have a solid friendship as you go through your love journey.
Man, you have to, I always said one thing about us is like, she knows the worst about me. I know the quote unquote worst about her, and we've never judged each other. And that's been our relationship the whole time. And so I always ask people or, challenge people, because I didn't challenge myself like this, but like, if you could know whatever the worst is of that person, if that person is not going to grow or change anymore, is that the person that you still want to be with for the rest of your life? I know, including myself, I've gotten into situations where I was like, okay, that person will grow, or people expected me to grow in a certain way, and it didn't. So the foundation again was not as solid as you may have thought it was. And so I think you have to, asking the tough questions is like, in my opinion, the most organic way for you to figure out maybe who you should be with, who you shouldn't be with. And again, I just everybody hits. Like some people might find this in their 20s, some people find it in their 30s. We found it a long time ago, but like I said, certain people had to grow up and mature. And but she's always had my back. I've always had her back. I've never had any woman or anybody really that's been as protective of me as she has. And vice versa. And so like it's cool. Like, the most simple way is just cool. It's cool to have it, and we work, like we run this like it's a company. Like we have not conference calls, but we have meetings in the living room, or in our office where we run down like we give each other grades. What's the communication been for the week? Of course, I should get an A all the time, but I might get a B plus or B minus one week, or cooking or short, whatever it might be. All the things that make us go around the house, like what is it? And so we take those grades and then we try to improve upon those every day.
Aaron, I was going to ask that as my next question, man, and that's what's so awesome about these types of connections, because I was going to ask, with your relationship being so external, externally facing, and how you guys have intentionally put things out there, how do you calibrate that? And so to hear that you guys are having some type of regular cadence to that type of growth and documenting that growth, I think that's a beautiful thing. I love to know more about how y'all grade each other. It started from here and then going.
She's so lopsided with my grade. I should get all A's.
So I used to be a college professor, so I know how to properly grade and assess and review and evaluate. Okay. So the check-ins that we do, they're really good, because it's anything that's important to me or important to him. We talk about, this is where I view you on that, right? And if I'm on a B or a C, I'm going to explain why. And then that lets him know what he may need to do to get that grade up. But those check-ins are valuable, and I have not done that before in previous.
Y'all need to brand those check-ins. I mean, not to, as you all go on your path, like just call it something. Because that's a good practice in my mind, because, Shani and I, we don't do that in our relationship, but to kind of we talk about more the practical things, like we'll, have budgetary meetings and things of that nature, but I never even thought about sitting down on a regular cadence and grading how we're communicating.
I mean, we didn't either. I know I've never done that in any of my relationships in the past. I know she hasn't, but I just remember when I graduated from college and my first corporate job, and my first review, like they just snuck so many things in. I was like, man, I've been here for 90 days and y'all could have said half the stuff. I would have corrected it right away. Right. And I just hated that surprise. I was just like, nah, this is whack. So, we always talk about that. And actually I saw a brother on Instagram, and he was just talking about how him and his wife, like they run their marriage like it is a business, because to an extent it is a business. You guys are two separate entities, and you've merged together to run a company that is founded on, spirituality, love, et cetera, et cetera. Again, I never looked at it like that till I saw that. And so once, she came back, that's like, once we decided that we're going to make this official, that was one of the first things that we talked about, because again, it's just not making the same mistakes. Right. Or having the same failures, and how do you prevent that? Like we literally stripped down all of our past relationships with everything that we didn't do. Not even what was done to us, but what we didn't do and what we didn't have, so that we can make sure that we start to fill those voids individually and collectively.
What have been some of the I'll give this analogy of this tank that y'all ride in, that's been forged over the years through trust and everything, that's riding through life. What have been some of those toughest kind of external things that have kind of shook things, where y'all were like, hey, externally, as we go through this journey in a very, very public way, should we really be doing this? Have y'all thought about pivoting away from it? Or has it been just, so healthy and so enriching that it's something that you just decide to dig deeper into? I don't want to assume that nothing has kind of shook the tank.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
I think something that we faced earlier on is a lot of the chatter from people that we know mutually, right? And why is she with him and why is he with her? And, just stirring the pot kind of thing. So those are the types of things that we acknowledge it, but we don't feed into it.
Sure.
Right? We need to speak about it to correct somebody, we'll do that. But that could be something that could, be a deterrent for a lot of people who want to be external for a certain purpose.
Yeah.
People are gonna talk, so we're gonna give them something good to talk about.
Yeah.
So and the chatter eventually dies off. So why would we ruin what we have because of what's happening that's temporary, right?
Yeah.
We'll continue to do what we're doing. The chatter will die off, and we'll be successful. We're not worried about what the external folks have to say. So I know that's something that was constant for a couple of months when we first started.
Mhm.
Negatively, some people, but most of it was negative conversation.
I mean, Greg, you know me. I don't really care what nobody has to say, to be honest.
Sure.
Because like people only talk when you're happy, And so if you don't have anything to tear down, then no one's trying to tear it down. So I just take it as a compliment, to be honest with you. And we have things that are private that are our own. But somebody told me this early on. They were like, the reason why this is going to work, and God willing it will, and what we're building as far as our external platform, is because it's seated in God's word. And that's like, that's the key. And as long as we're doing that, whether we reach 10 people, 10,000, 10 million, like I'm not losing no sleep. I'm not really worried about, what anybody else is doing. Yeah, I mean, we have issues like, she might want to watch. I don't know. We have typical couple issues, like,
Yeah.
but the thing that both of us have never had, and again, for me, it just comes with maturity. And my dad always raised me, he's like, never go to bed upset. He's like, because that person's not guaranteed to wake up in the morning. And so we have a system we're probably within, I'll say 12 hours, because she'd be holding on to stuff. But but no, within 12 hours before we wake up in the morning, we generally have addressed whatever issue it is. And by the time we wake up in the morning, we're on a path to correct it if we haven't corrected it already.
Mhm.
And that's key. Like that is just so key, because you're gonna, like, I think it's unhealthy not to have disagreements, because that means, in my opinion, that somebody's holding on to something. Yeah. Somebody's not saying something, and she's a very, strong woman. And, I'm a very, pure and holy and innocent person. And take advantage
See
of
how
that.
we like to entertain people?
Yeah. So, it works. It works.
I think one thing that I found, to talk, piggyback on what Aaron just said, when it comes to the disagreements and how long you hold on to them. I'm a person that will hold on to something, and I'll hold on to a grudge really well, right? Because I believe what I believe. I'm not trying to hear what you're trying to say, etc. But what I found with Aaron and this relationship, and what I want for this relationship, it's not always about me. And I may still feel how I feel, but he may also have a valid point that I need to listen to and take into consideration. And because I love him, I don't want to have this strife for too long. Let's talk about it, clear it up, how we're going to fix it, and move on. So as he mentioned, we wake up the next day to correct. It's a new day to love again, and we keep it moving.
Awesome. In addition to the internal team, I'd say the No Formula 22 team meetings that y'all have, what are some of the regular things that y'all do, as a couple? I know y'all kick it with other awesome couples, and as y'all mentioned, Shani and I gonna come kick it. Get some good belly laughter going, because that's the one thing I love to do, is just sit down, fellowship, and laugh hard, right? And so, in addition to that, what are some of the things that y'all just enjoy doing, in this purpose that y'all have built?
Now, I was gonna say, he's my trainer. We work
like
out.
Physical trainer, okay.
Yes. And you said enjoy, so I don't enjoy it all the time, because he's not nice all the time. But that is something that we do together, and I'm getting better at taking direction and doing what I need to do to enjoy it more. Because we're on this, being healthier with our body, our mind, emotions, everything. So I'm much more steadfast when it comes to the physical exercise, but that is definitely something that we do together.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like I said, I turned 43 on November 1st. And
boy, look 25, don't it?
Yeah.
It's the Hennessy. It's the Hennessy and the fruits, but you just want to. My dad always
said it's the Hennessy.
The Hennessy.
It's preserving him.
That cognac, that fine champagne cognac. But my dad would tell me, he was like, son, you're not working out for your 30s or your 40s, but really, God willing, for your 60s and your 70s. And so, like, you can't reverse engineer anything. And so I just, you just take pride in that. I seen you in the gym with Ramon, and it's to shut up and train, and y'all will get it in.
Shout out to the boys. Shout out to the home team, man. Great. Hey, look, man. People see me and they're like, Greg, what are you doing? And,
yeah.
And Ray's been awesome, man. Shout out to the boy, man. He's been good, man.
Diet.
Changing our diet.
Yeah, we've been on the pescatarian thing for a while. Every now and then it might deviate with chicken, but she might every now and then have a steak, but I don't eat red meat or pork, and just drinking water because I'm not giving up my cognac. So if I could drink a gallon of water and do other things to counter that, then we're good. But we watch hood movies. We might watch a hood movie, like I'm talking about like hood, low budget, type stuff.
We gotta support those black movies too.
Yeah, exactly. Or we might watch Bloomberg.
Y'all watching like I Got the Hookup, or y'all watching like
Plug Love?
Favorite Plug Love on Prime.
Yeah. Any low budget movie but it's just good. It's just entertaining. Like I think we're very simple as far as what it takes to entertain us. Like the one thing I've experienced with her that I've never had with anybody, like we could literally sit in silence and communicate. Like we might just sit downstairs or sit out on the deck or whatever we're doing and not say a word.
And we're still comfortable. And still
be good and come inside and be like, man, that was dope. She might be reading a magazine or on her phone, whatever it might be. And that's an amazing feeling. I've never had that. If I was with somebody and they were quiet, I'm like, uh-oh, like something must be wrong. But I don't know. We did, but this is how we've been since we were kids. And I say we're kids because we're adults. We were kids in college, and we still have, thank God, the same kid-like energy. We still play around the house. Sometimes Caden doesn't know we're being serious, or because we just having fun, and that's and I think that's key. Like my dad is 71, and he's a big kid, and so that's kind of where I get that from. And I feel like honestly, none of us should ever grow up. That doesn't mean that you don't grow with responsibility and have growth, but I still play video games, and I still do a lot of the things I did when I was a kid. And I think that's the key to just being happy and making sure you're minding. I feel like by the grace of God, you want to get older, because if you don't get older, then the alternative is not being on this planet.
Yeah, and it comes with wisdom too. There's this sharpness that we had in our youthfulness. This, whether you're studious about certain things or just really being sharp, but with time comes that wisdom, right? And that instinctive wisdom helps you kind of navigate through. Right. It's a little bit easier.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. I don't know. It just took me. We always joke like, man, why did it take this long for us to be able to? But like I said, everybody has a destination. Everybody has a journey, and this is ours. And so there was no other way it should have happened than how it happened right now. And
and we're grateful that it happened.
Yeah,
because we're in better positions now to be able to nurture what we have and grow what we have. Yeah. So we're grateful.
I'll tell you this, Greg. I remember I went to Kim Porter's funeral, and seeing Mr. Combs up there speaking about Kim and like that just being the love of his life and his best friend and so forth, and not necessarily having the opportunity to really tell her that or tell her everything that he should have over the years. And that was the first time I had seen Mr. Combs as vulnerable. He did a beautiful job. But when I was there watching him, I remember thinking about her. And I was like, man, I had this woman, she's somewhere, and she's been my best friend for this long. And I wonder if I ever have an opportunity to tell her what she truly means to me. And that was in 2018. But I never reached out because she was in a situation or what have you, but God hurt my heart. And when she came back into my life, I didn't hesitate. Like at the beginning of this year, first quarter, like I wrote her 22 love letters in 22 days. To kind of commemorate the 22 years we've been together. And it wasn't like it was forced.
Look. Take a note, write a note.
I mean, Greg, I'm a writer, but the funny thing is, like, I have been working on, I don't know if you saw, but I just finished I got a certificate for humor and comedy writing from Emory. So my goal at the top of the year was to have a script done. And I had kind of hit a rut. It was just so much going on at the top of the year, including with COVID.
Sure.
And I popped back into my space again. like she just freed my spirit, and I started writing. And so the first thing I wrote was a letter to her. And then I woke up in the morning, so I want to write another letter. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write you 22 letters. And they're all different, some short, some long. One's a poem. One includes a letter to her late mom. But it was just to celebrate her. Like, I'm just all about, and not to knock, her past relationships, but I've always felt like, and I never told her this because I never wanted to impede on her relationship, but I've always felt that, like, the relationship she had been in the past, like, people celebrated her for what she was or what she looked like versus who she is. Like, I know she's pretty, I know she's beautiful, but like she just has this dope spirit. I mean, she's a giver. Like, she will get the shirt off her back if she sees somebody in need. And her level of strength is just off the charts. Her level of resilience is off the charts. And so for me, like, I want her to know that, but then also because of her journey and her story, I want other women to understand, like, regardless of what you've been through or going through, like, God gives second, third, fourth, and fifth chances. You just got to,
Sure.
and as well for the brothers, like, my last marriage, like, it broke me. Like, my spirit was almost broken.
There in our community, and I hate to generalize, but I just have to go there because y'all see it. Y'all know what love feels like in the Black community. The symbolism around things that you got to be willing to fight for in it. And hearing y'all talk about y'all relationship and the growth in it and the willingness to fight for it, and not this battle with the external world, but this recognizing the importance in that and being willing to opt in.
Right.
Versus just saying, hey, I'm cool with being by myself and just kind of kicking it the way I want to kick it.
Right.
That really, really is awesome in my mind, man. And I think the message behind that is just so powerful because not a lot of people, recognize it as such. Even when I think about my relationship with Shani, as I was kind of listening to you, the ability to fight for that in a way that I want to, not the way that the world tells me to.
Right.
And the symbolism in that for Black love, to be candid with you, because we know that this message around that, and again, that's why I think your story is so powerful. Y'all story is so powerful, is because that has to be a different type of narrative there, And if you don't have people willing to write it, now I don't know if me and Shani would be in y'all space helping to write that narrative, but I can say, just in sharing this platform with you, I said, man, it'd be awesome to converse about that, so that our networks, individually and collectively, can think more on that, the way it represents or what it represents,
right,
in a world where it's just really so needed.
Yeah, I mean, you said something that's key. I mean, you're only successful as the people that you grow with. So that was the other thing as a couple that we made sure that we do and have been doing is like, and it's not to knock to, some of our friends that might not be in this situation, but we have to be around people that are in positive situations or at least willing to make positive growth. Because, like even we went on a double date last weekend and it was just great to be around another couple with 5 kids, been married for 10 years and just, still young, but we just all kicking it, just talking because everybody has different journeys. Everybody has different issues. You realize that your issues aren't the end of the world.
Right.
You realize that as a couple, there's nothing wrong with you. This is just the process that you go through. And to your point, that's very intentional. You said something at the beginning of the interview. You used the word intentional. And so one of the things that she got me back into is she got me back into church. I had not been to church in probably 3 years, 3.5 years. And part of it was because there was a part of me that was still broken. There's a part of me that's still broken. I'm repairing from my past situation. But when you go to church, especially if you're broken, man, you got a good pastor. The pastor will.
You sit there and cry in your seat, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, and I wasn't.
You sit there and cry in your seat because it's pulling on you, baby. It's pulling, and when it's pulling on you, you just. That's the type of growth I want to be in space I want to be in all the time. I'm just not, I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you, man. Like, that's the type of situation when you talk about just getting your armor strong to go out into the world, hear those messages. That's what you want to hear, man, in church, man.
Yeah. And so, we had to do church virtually because of COVID, but I didn't cry in front of this woman several times and over the years, period, and vice versa. But like that first moment of being in church, like I'm, crying thug tears, but it's just coming out of me. But I was holding on to certain things for so long, and it's crazy because I learned I had a panic attack in 2015 that almost killed me,
I
and
didn't know that, Aaron.
I posted something about it, but I mean, and for men, especially for Black men, it's always hard to talk about because I was in a relationship that was just toxic. I'm not gonna place blame on anyone, but it was toxic for me, and I got to the point I was sitting in my car and the garage door was down. Didn't realize the car was on. I was on my way to work out. It was like 5 a.m, and I felt like I was having a heart attack. And then I couldn't breathe. And basically, what happened was carbon monoxide fumes had filled the garage, basically.
I remember that, Aaron.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yep, I
So,
do.
long story short, my daughter found me. I got rushed to the hospital, and doctor was like, they were trying to admit me. I was like, no, I'm cool. I was going through something, but it was the first I realized in that moment that like, one, you have to find whether it's a therapist and you have to find somebody to talk to, because if I had enough, I say courage, because if I had enough courage, if I had put my pride aside, I could have called anybody. I could have called you. And I might not even have to talk about what I was going through, but just to have an opportunity to talk and gain perspective could have saved me from that moment. And so, and we talk about that too, as far as one of the reasons why we created this platform, because, she suffered immense tragedy in her life. And we want people to understand that even though it's 2020, it's so taboo in our community to seek therapy, to get help, especially for Black men, to say that I'm hurting, to say that I'm vulnerable. And when I went through that process and I started talking to other Black men, I found out this person over here was in therapy. This person over here was this or that. And so I realized, okay, there's nothing wrong with you, Aaron. It's just, again, it's just part of the process of life. God still has a plan for you because he kept you on this earth, and keep it in motion. But make sure that you don't keep this information to yourself. So from then on out, whenever I went to speak, any platform, even when I was on radio, I always tried to dedicate or make sure that I mention that part of my journey, because I need people to understand that it is okay, that you'll be okay. Try to prevent it if you can, but if you can't, it's still okay. You're human. It doesn't make you weak. I know growing up, I was taught, especially as a Black man, you're taught restraint is the number one thing in your survival, whether it's restraint in school, restraint in corporate America, restraint with the police. So that level of vulnerability was sometimes looked on as being weak, but it's not weak. It just means you're human. So
I think it's important to recognize that you need to release things so you can grow. You can fill them with positive, release the negative. So when you talk about therapy, off and on, I've been in therapy since 2012, right? Since my late husband passed, my mom passed, and my youngest son passing. And I think therapy is awesome. You get it out with somebody who is unbiased, but they're knowledgeable enough to guide you through how to deal with your emotions and deal with your feelings and give you strategies to help repair yourself. And more Black women go to therapy, but there's still a lot of Black women that don't do it, who need to. We have to be strong. We have to be strong for the family, especially if you're a single mother, take care of your children. You have to go work multiple jobs, keeping all these balls in the air that you don't have time for yourself. And you start to break down emotionally, mentally, and physically. And when you can eventually recognize that, because lots of times we're such in a world where we don't recognize everything that's going on around us and what's hurting us, you seek somebody who can help you. It was very, very important to do that. And it's been awesome for me. I think it's something that I'm probably going to continue to do for the rest of my life because of the value that it's bringing. But we have to release so we can be able to pour back in or hold on to the positive that's going to help us grow and help us move forward.
And to finish even that, what you just said, Michelle, that repair piece, the way in which, whether we're releasing a lot or a little, the way in which people find ways to repair themselves can either be healthy or toxic.
That is true.
Whether we're treating our internal wounds and repairing them a certain way, or leaning on other things, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, whether it be other unhealthy type relationships that we don't even see in front of us in the current moment, but only through love or forgiveness or God's grace that we're able to tell, what real repair is.
Right.
And that's why I think these type of conversations are just so healthy, because when folks see people going through that process, this healing thing that's on the journey, right? I know for me, even personally, through this platform, healing in certain ways and the feedback that I've individually got from friends, interviewing folks like y'all, some things heal fully, but some things are still, still kind of repairing. But that's really, really important, I think. And you mentioned that release and then the repair, and making sure it's in a healthy space.
Exactly.
Yeah. And y'all sound like y'all doing that in a regular way all the time, and giving each other the space to kind of be there, because it's never one thing, right? It's always just, we're so complex,
And it is key what you say, given the space. And I think especially for men, it's harder for them to have that release, that emotional release. And some women don't understand, I need to give him the space to be able to do that, and without judgment, right?
Michelle, there's such an expectation on us all the time. And again, I hate to generalize it, but I've gotten it my whole life as a brother. And this expectation, because of the way that I've kind of built on certain things, to say, oh, Greg will be all right. When you hear the thing that folks say, check on your strong friend.
Yeah.
I'm like, please somebody check on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, check on me. But this expectation that we will be strong and we don't need that, I think there's power in what you just said, Michelle, to say, hey, in my relationship with Aaron, I expect him to be strong, right? But I'm going to let him be in this space to be vulnerable too. Exactly. And not hold it against him later on, because I've been in relationships where that's been held against me. And I'm like, yo, this shit is toxic,
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think the other thing too, I know in my past, and we do well with, and I watched my parents, and like, it was times when my mom had it, dad didn't, dad had it, mom didn't. Dad was in grad school, mom held him down. Mom was in law school, dad held the family down. And then they got to the point where they were able to balance each other, but there were never any like, it's strong. And like, my dad's a man's man, but like, I know he can't, if my mom, he always tells me that my mom, if God takes my mom first, my dad probably won't make it a week, because that's just the kind of how strong my mom is, right? At the same token, I look at how my dad has just balanced out my mom, but it takes work. You just got to work. It's just like your career or anything else. I said, I've never wanted a job. I wanted a career.
Sure.
And I built a career, and then that has taken work, that has taken failures, that has taken me resetting, that has taken me pivoting. And you have to be willing to put that type of energy into your relationship, and I've been in a relationship in the past where she was like, it shouldn't be this hard. And, sometimes it is hard, like we've had hard days where it's like, all right, this is, she not hearing what I'm saying. I'm not hearing what she's saying. So me being the mature person that I am, I'm like, come on, baby, let's make this right. But, at the end of the day, it's the saying is true. It's happy wife, happy life. And I've matured enough to understand, like, look, it don't matter who's right or wrong. Let's just make sure it's good and we can go. Because I know if she's not right, then my whole day is messed up. Because all I'm thinking about is, what can I do to make sure that she's back on track and she's good? And that's cool. But you got to care about it too. You have to care to want to make that effort. And then just the word we used before is just being intentional. Like that is something else that I've never been in any relationship, and she's never been, like, just to be intentional on every single thing that we do, even if it's just watching a movie or going to a bar. Like, it's intentional. It's a moment. It's just for us to have a release, or we're doing family time with Caden or what have you. It's just like everything has to be intentional, because you don't know how much time on this earth that you have. So, and we've all wasted time. I don't want to say wasted, like even going to homecoming is intentional. Homecoming might be 3 or 4 or 5 days of just ignorance, but it's still intentional, because homecoming, especially for most of us as Black people, is that safe haven that you get for 4 or 5 days, and then you go out to the world and a lot of times it's not going to be forgiving for you. But now you charge your spiritual battery, and so it's like, all right, I see y'all in 12 months. Let's get it.
It is a way to repair.
Yeah, it is a way to repair. So we can kind of take the same the same approach in our relationship. And I honestly, I always say marriage because I've always felt like you don't get, when you get promoted to do a job, you don't get promoted to do the job, to do it. You don't get promoted to the job and then start doing it. You get promoted because you've been doing that job. And so, you know, like she knows that I have intentions of marrying her. She doesn't know when I'm gonna ask her, but you know, I will. And
Now, I
that,
can if you need my services. I'm just putting it out there. You ain't got to.
I
You
already,
ain't got to go with me.
I sent you a text already. You know, I was like, Greg's gonna be the one that's gonna marry us. You know, I already know that. So, but
Yeah,
again,
I'll help however I need to. If y'all need somebody to just hold the door and check IDs.
I appreciate that. Well, you know, because in this new time, like it's gonna be small and intimate, but you know, again, but it's just like, why waste time? Why waste her time? You know, why waste Caden's time? You know, Caden is 10, and you know, when she walked through my front door the first time, and I talked to my mom, in my mindset, I was like, I'm gonna marry this woman when it's right, and I'm going to adopt Caden, because that is, otherwise, what's the point? What's the point of wasting her time? Especially Caden. You know, Caden has been through a lot and losing his little brother, and not, you know, having that consistency as far as, you know, male representation. So like, why waste any of their time? And you just have to be intentional, you know. And maybe when you're younger, you don't have to be intentional, but like I said, the older you get, you start to realize that these days, these years, these months, these weeks aren't guaranteed. And so, like, you know, what did we do today? I mean, we had a lazy morning, which is what it is.
That's okay,
but that was okay.
that's a part of the repair. Repair looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
And we all need rest, and that rest doesn't always come in the night hours. So if you need to relax, you need to whatever, you got to take that time to do that, because the more you keep pushing and pushing, the more you could be potentially harming yourself. So, you know, lazy days are okay over here.
Yeah, absolutely. but we're doing this with you now, so I feel productive.
No, all good, man. It really, really is awesome to hear, you know, as we come up to the hour mark, about the things that y'all are protecting, why you're protecting them, this love that y'all have found in those things, the practice, this rhythm of being accountable to all of that, and then the courage to tell the world about it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to miss this moment in telling y'all that narrative, that ability to pick up a pen and start writing in this book to inspire people, that means something. You know, to me personally, that means something to the people that know y'all personally. And you may not ever hear it from folks, even the strangers that will check out not only this interview, but interviews that y'all will do, content that y'all will put out by the grace of God to continue to, you know, inspire folks. Well, say one more time here.
Podcast is coming soon.
Yeah,
man. Whatever's coming soon, baby. Let's get it. I mean, like, there is this space where you're writing, man, literally writing on these pages to tell this narrative, because one of the things that I also want to remind y'all is that when people like y'all don't pick up the pen and start writing those pages, the devil does. And we can't not recognize that there's this story that's being written around how people see things and this perception around things. And those pages don't stay blank forever. You know, I'm proud to know that y'all are writing and telling people at the same time. And that requires just so much courage. I don't know if I'm ready to do that. Like, even for Shani and I, like, we'll post like a photo or something. You know, I'm a doodle dad now. My friends get on me because they say, "Oh, Greg, you got these doodles." You know what I mean? Walking around Atlantic Station, you know, getting to it. You know, it's this evolution of things around what it is that I share to tell people about, you know, just inspire folks in my own way. But what y'all are doing is just so different and so powerful that I just want y'all to be able to recognize that from me to you, it's appreciated, one. And I think that for folks that are really, really looking at ways to become better and grow in that, there's so much healthy stuff on the sheet of paper in front of me that's symbolic of what y'all have built and will continue to build.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get really honestly all the credit to her, because she's been my inspiration. Like that post, the post that I wrote about her and her journey on August 8th of this year, I had been sitting on that for 2 months, 2 or 3 months. And so it was just about when the time was right. The time was right. I know she was a little nervous. And I was like, look, because and it's good. Like a lot of times we don't see the value in ourselves like other people see it, which is good in a way because that means that you're humble and so forth. But at the same token, like situations or people, you could be beaten up so much that sometimes you need to understand why God put you on this planet. And so, you know, when I wrote that, I was like, man, please, I like, you ready? All right, you know, lace up. Cause I just want the world to know, you know, who you are.
And purpose is born in that, Aaron. So when we talk about purpose, it's born in those types of moments.
Right, absolutely. And that, I mean, if not for that post, then we're not sitting here with you.
Right.
Because I was like, you probably get like 80 to 100 likes, keep it moving, but like 400, all these comments, DMs, it was just crazy. And that was just on my side and her side as well. And I mean, it's just a different kind of happiness, man. Like I've never, and again, there's no disrespect to my past relationships, but I've just never been this happy. I've never experienced this kind of happiness. And you know, a lot of our happiness and our foundation is just seated in spirituality, which is just it's just different, man. Like that, she literally I mean, it sounds corny and it's cliche, but
don't say it sounds corny. I ain't gonna give you that. Not here. No. You better speak your truth, bro.
Yeah, I mean, she knows what I'm thinking. I mean, she knows how I'm gonna move. I don't move without her. And we still have our own individuality, but it's just the collective of what we have is just so dope. And we've had it for years. It was just about putting it together, especially on my end. And you know, like I said, watching Mr. Combs make that speech, like you learn from others' mistakes and other people's tragedies and other people's regrets. And I just hope and pray that I will have an opportunity to just share that with her one day. And that's it. You know, I didn't expect any of this to happen, but you know, because she's here, like even when she gets on my nerves, it's like, all right, you know, remember where you were before she came back into your life. Remember what you were not, and remember what you are now. Like, you know, I don't know if I'm in class. I don't know if I can enroll at Emory if she's not there to encourage me. It's I've been so much more efficient professionally because I mean, like it's just the accountability, the level of accountability. And I know, you know, I have to continue to maintain and grow at a certain pace in order for her to just want to fuck with me. like Negro, you getting a little lazy, you know, that type of stuff. So I don't even want to get to that point. So every day I wake up in my mind like I gotta get it so that she'll look at me the same way she's been looking at me for the last 18 years. And we just rock from there. So it's cool.
And with that, Michelle, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of close us out. You know, after hearing Aaron say that, you know, it's a little emotional. You know, it's a little emotional, right?
One thing I want to say about Aaron, the level of support that I need based off of the things that I've been through, he provides to me. So I have dealt with people in the past, and this relationships or just friends, when I needed support, I needed to cry, nobody was there, right? Because they don't want to be in a bad space. They don't have the time. They don't want to give their energy. And you don't have to have gone through those experiences, my opinion. You don't have to go through those experiences to know how to be there for somebody. And sometimes that's just sitting there and we're quiet. Sometimes it's a hug. Sometimes it's doing something to make me laugh, take me somewhere, whatever the case may be. But he can recognize when I'm in those modes, and he's pretty good about giving me what I need in way of support. And that's essential for me. But that's what comes from him understanding me, paying attention to me, right? And asking questions to figure out what I need. Because sometimes you have to ask the question, you're not always gonna know, right? So that support is essential. He gives the same support to Kaden as well. And that is something that I love so much about this man, right? That I know that I can count on him, not just to go to the store, but when I need you to let me be in this space because of where I am emotionally and mentally, and not hold that against me either, and not throw that back up in my face at another time. Right. So I think in this journey that we have, this love journey, again, you know, the word intentional is key. everything that I do for a reason when it comes to Aaron. If it's to make him laugh, to make him feel good, to help us grow, because that is, I know I'm very clear on my purpose with this man and what I want to do and how I want our life to be. Right. So I think you have to take time to do self-assessment about what you really want. And then you have to pay attention to your partner and what they want and what they need. And you got to find a way to weave all that stuff in.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful. And listen, I am honored to have had y'all on the platform.
Hey, my brother.
You know, this has been super healthy.
That's good.
You know, and what I will, you know, continue to, and Aaron, you're gonna get a text from me, email from me, Michelle, because I ain't gonna bother you, I'm gonna bother him.
That's okay.
And so he can say, hey, Greg, just text me. You know, it's cool to let, again, that content live. You know, God bless Mark Zuckerberg and them.
Right.
I'm gonna tell y'all the avenues to inspire people in your journey. They are there. And for what we've learned and what I've learned, thanks for those folks that have tuned in just an hour conversation. I think the world will be interested in learning more.
I appreciate that.
And I'm grateful for y'all joining this particular platform that I've helped to create in listening and being obedient to God and obeying. But it's for moments like these. Like, I just kind of even get goosebumps, right? It's for moments like these that confirm why folks like y'all are so important. And so keep doing what you're doing.
Thank
Keep
you.
doing what you're doing, and consider us fans, consider us supporters, and you'll always find a place to continue to inspire here with me. And so, any last words, y'all?
Nah, man, just thank you, man. Like, it's just this is our third interview we've done the last 2 months, and you know, again, just very fulfilling. And like every time we get done with an interview, we're just like, we probably like when we turn this on, we're gonna be bouncing off the wall. We probably pour a drink because it's just you know, we're nervous. Like, I was nervous doing this because it is I don't think either one of us have an issue being vulnerable, but it's still nervous. You still get nervous.
It's personal.
Yeah, it's very personal.
Yeah.
You don't want to be judged by that.
Yeah.
You want people to listen and to take it in.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just thankful, and you know, just for anybody that's out there that is, well, personally or professionally, that is, just know that God has a plan for you, but you just gotta hang in there. You gotta fight.
You gotta do your part.
You gotta do your part. You gotta focus on you. You know, don't chase love at all. Let it happen, and just know it's possible. I mean, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Like I remember probably about 5 months ago, I saw, you know, somebody that we all know post like, I'm 40 something and I don't know if there's love is possible anymore, blah blah blah. And I was just like, man, I wanted to, you know, respond to her and help her and be like, look, yo, like, trust me, it's very possible, but like, you giving up is not helping you.
Right.
You know, so don't, you know, you can't just stay in the house forever. Like, get out the house. The more you expose yourself to things, maybe this is God's way of saying get yourself together first, because you can't be good to anybody else if you're not good to yourself.
Exactly.
You know, so we're just thankful, man. Stay healthy, and you know, shoot, whenever this madness ends, me and Greg need to do a day party.
Indeed. Hey, look, you already know. Stay strong and stay covered with it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And where can folks find more information about what y'all are doing? Social media handles, everything.
If you just go to no formula on Instagram, so it's just, you know, NO, how you spell formula? FORMULE. How do you spell it? 22, spell it.
No formula 22. I think people know how to spell
No formula, yeah.
Yeah, people know how to spell formula, man. Yeah. People know how to spell it.
That's where our content is now.
DM, send us a message.
It's funny, like, this is the beginning of our podcast room that we're creating in the house. So
it looks cool. I was gonna compliment it, man, but you know, what's understood doesn't have to be spoken.
We got some posters and some other things that we're gonna put up just to make it like our little haven. But we're excited about that, because not only do we want to talk about our journey, but interview couples like yourself and your wife and Shawnee, and you know, we just want to be a platform that inspires, educates, and entertains, man, and just have fun while doing it. And you know, she's been writing a book, which she'll be releasing sometime next year. I'm working on a book as well, which is dedicated to her, the love letters that I wrote. And so we're good, man. Like, to have a partner that you can build a business with, to build a platform with is just is dope. I've never had it before. I didn't, I would see other couples and just be like, wow, that's dope, that's special. How does that even happen, right? But and still have her own career, her own thing going on as well. Like she's way smarter than I am. She's a doctor. She has a PhD. But I just try to compensate in other ways. So just thankful, bro. Thank you for this. Because when you launch your platform, I did what Kanye does. I said, hey man, we need to be a part of this. I like, nah, bro. I'm gonna see the bio and everything. You've been doing such amazing work, not only with this, but in the community and everything you've done. And I was like, man, I want to be a part of this early, before it goes into the next year and it starts blowing up. So I can say we was part of the, we one of the first, 10 or 15 guests on the show. So
yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. We're booked all the way through February now, so it's been beautiful.
Yes, sir.
It's out of response and love for people that enjoy these types of conversations. And folks that I never would have thought would be inspired by not just this platform, but tuning into the certain types of conversations, approach me, send me messages around how it's confirming, right? Again, obeying this voice from the Most High and saying, let's do this. But it's confirmed in ways that y'all will never know. But we're gonna keep going. We're gonna be doing this for a year with a culminating activity, 2021 June, which y'all will be invited to, man. And it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful.
I have a question. I have one last question. Where, can we get the video so we can post it on our platforms? And
yeah, totally. I can send you the file. Yeah, I can send you all that. It'll live not just on my website after today, but yeah, you certainly can.
What we did with that last interview and what we want to do is we don't we won't upload it to our YouTube. Well, basically, wherever the original interview is, we'll just post that in our bio link, in our link tree, so people can click on it and still go to your platform. We just want to put it, chop it up and just put a good 2-3 minute snippet on our page.
Yeah, you'll have it. We'll figure out how to send it to you. These large video files.
We just use WeTransfer. It does everything for you.
My man, we're gonna have to get them a advertisement stipend or something.
Right. Right. And it's free. It's free. It's free. Up to 2 gigs. It's free, buddy.
My man.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. And for the folks that tuned in and the folks that will watch, we appreciate y'all tuning in to listening and learning from No Formula 22. We'll see y'all soon on the next episode, and stay blessed and stay covered. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Good job.